Here are 20 common vocabulary words to know before you take the real estate exam. If you don't know me by now, my name is Robert Rico, and I've been helping thousands, I'm talking thousands of people pass the exam for the last 12 years. If you want more videos like this one, hit the subscribe button below. All right, let's start the review. The first one is the principle of progression. So what is it? The principle of progression means a home's value can rise when it is surrounded by better, more expensive homes. Buyers often pay more to live in a neighborhood that displays strong pride of ownership. Wouldn't you? The opposite idea is regression, where a nice home that is well taken care of and has pride of ownership can lose value if it's located near cheaper, unkept homes. On the exam, I want you to think, how do nearby properties affect value? Federal National Mortgage Association, also known as Fannie Mae. Now, Fannie Mae, or the Federal National Mortgage Association, helps lenders by buying home loans from them. Now, why is this important? This gives the lender money back so they can make more new loans to borrowers, charging them points and interest, and it helps keep mortgage money moving through the system. Now, Fannie Mae sets rules for many conventional loans that lenders follow. On the exam, remember this. It supports the mortgage market, but it usually does not lend directly to consumers. Functional obsolescence. Now, functional obsolescence is a loss in value because the home's design or features are outdated or inconvenient. It can be inside the home, like a bad layout, tiny closets, or no second bathroom. It can also be outside, like no garage or, poor parking for the neighborhood. Sometimes it can be fixed, and sometimes it costs too much to fix, so sellers will discount the price. On the exam, think problem with the function, not just the age. Dual agent. Now, a dual agent represents both the buyer and the seller in the same transaction. Now, think about that. You've listed the home on 1234 Main Street, and you represent the seller. You have an open house, buyer walks in and loves the property, and they want to make an offer. You write it up for them. Your seller accepts it. Now you represent both on the purchase of 1234 Main Street. This can create conflicts because the agent cannot fully negotiate against either side. Now, many states require written disclosure and consent from both parties. The agent must be fair and careful about sharing confidential information from either party. On the exam, I want you to remember this, that you represent two people on the same transaction, and it must be disclosed to both the buyer and the seller. You want access to more vocabulary words like these? Our exam prep package has thousands, I'm talking thousands of digital flashcards that you can use to drill exam terminology. It also has unlimited practice exams, study guides, and video explanations. You can also study on the go with the U.S. Realty Training app. Now, my students who used the exam prep told me that they didn't just learn the information, but they felt confident when they sat down to take the exam. Now, I added the link below, so click it and get yours today. Now, let's keep going. Subject to. So what is subject to? Subject to means that an individual gets title to the property, but the loan stays in the initial borrower's name. The receiver of the title often picks up the payments for the initial borrower, but the borrower is still responsible to the lender. If the new person that was placed on the title stops paying, the original borrower's credit can be damaged and foreclosure can happen. Now, many loans have a due on sale clause that can cause problems if the lender finds out of the situation. The title can be adjusted, the loan cannot. On the exam, remember this. Title can transfer, but the loan does not transfer. Whoever borrowed it, well, they're responsible for paying the lender back. Material fact. So what is a material fact? Well, a material fact is any important fact that could affect the buyer's decision on the price they will pay. Now, if a reasonable person would want to know it, it is material. Examples include roof leaks, mold, foundation issues, past flooding, or a neighborhood hazard. Wouldn't you want to know everything there is to know about the condition of a property if you were buying it? Example, would you purchase a cool shirt that you like that has missing buttons? Maybe, but you probably would not pay full price. Bottom line, agents and sellers have legal duties to disclose material facts to the interested party. On the exam, think, if it changes the decision of a buyer, disclose it. Special warranty deed. Now, a special warranty deed gives limited protection to the buyer, The seller only promises the title was not harmed during their ownership. The seller does not promise the title was clear before they owned it. This is common in some commercial deals or bank-owned sales. Now on the exam, compare it to a general warranty deed, which gives broader protection. Bundle of rights. The bundle of rights is the set of legal rights that comes with owning real property. Now remember this acronym, UPT. UPT. You have the right to use, possess, transfer, encumber, and enjoy the property. Now there are a few instances where these rights can be limited by laws, like easements, liens, zoning, or HOA rules. On the exam, I want you to know that ownership is not just the building, it is the rights you have with it. Which rights? The bundle of rights. Lawful objective. Lawful objective. What does that mean? It means the contract must be for a legal purpose. Nothing about that. If the contract is for something illegal, it is void from the start. It should have never been created. A void contract cannot be enforced by either party. Now this is different from voidable. Now voidable means that one of the parties is able to void it. That's why we call it voidable, able to void. On the exam, match illegal purpose with void. Should have never happened. Contract for a deed. Contract for a deed. A contract for a deed, also known as a land contract, is when the seller of a property finances the loan for the buyer and will release the deed to the buyer once the buyer, who's also the borrower now, pays off the loan through installment payments to the seller. The buyer usually gets possession right away and builds an equitable interest. It is his house. The seller keeps legal title though and holds the deed until the buyer finishes paying off the loan per the agreement between both parties. However, if the buyer defaults and doesn't make the required payments, well, then the seller may be able to cancel the contract and foreclose on the property, just like a bank would. On the exam, remember this. Buyer pays over time. The seller holds the deed until the loan is paid in full. CC&Rs, also known as covenants, conditions, and restrictions. Now, CC&Rs are written rules that control how property in a private community can be used. Now, they're very common in condos, planned unit developments, also known as PUDs, PUD, and other HOA neighborhoods. Now, they can cover rules for rentals of the properties in that community, pets, parking, noise, and changes to the outside of the home. Now, violating these CC&Rs can result in a fine or legal action by the HOA. On the exam, I want you to remember that CC&Rs are private restrictions, not government zoning. Implied contract. What is an implied contract? Well, it's created by the actions of the parties, not by a written or spoken agreement. It happens when the behavior from both parties create expectations from each other without a written contract. Let me give you an example. A real estate agent meets a potential home buyer while conducting an open house. The buyer is not interested in that particular property, so the agent says, hey, let me offer you some other homes to look at next week. Without a written contract, the agent spends the next 3 weekends showing them properties. Now, the agent finds them a home that the buyer loves. Through both of their actions, it is implied that they have agreed that an agency relationship was created. On the exam, I want you to focus on this. Actions show intent. Unenforceable contract. Now, an unenforceable contract is a contract that a court will not enforce. It might be valid in theory, but something blocks legal enforcement. Common reasons include, the statute of frauds, missing signatures, vague terms, or the statute of limitations. Now, real estate purchase contracts usually must be in writing to be enforceable because these contracts have specific clauses, conditions, and agreements made by the parties. Now, what happens is this. This provides evidence of the meeting of the minds. On the exam, I want you to remember this. An unenforceable contract. Think it exists, but the court won't back it. Balloon loan, or partially amortized loan. A balloon loan is a short-term partially amortized loan with relatively low monthly payments, often covering only interest, followed by a single large balloon payment at the end of the loan, which is typically 3 to 7 years, to pay off the remaining principal. On the exam, I want you to know that the balloon means big payment at the end. Impound or escrow account. Now, an impound account, also known as an escrow account, is a lender-managed account used to pay property taxes and insurance for the borrower. Now, how does that work? Well, the borrower pays extra each month with their payment. And the lender holds that extra money in an account, an impound escrow account. Now, when taxes or insurance are due for the property, the lender pays them from the account on behalf of the borrower. Now, utilizing this system of paying required fees like taxes and homeowners insurance provides proof to the lender that these important costs are being paid as scheduled. Now, lenders often require impounds when the down payment is small. Now, in the exam, I want you to remember that it helps ensure taxes and insurance stay current. Leasehold estate. Now, a leasehold estate is the tenant's right to use and occupy the property for a set time, whether it be a single-family dwelling, an apartment, or a commercial building. Now, it's created by a lease agreement between the landlord and the tenant. Now, one interesting detail to note, though. It is considered a personal property interest since it is not ownership of real estate. Examples would include, let's see here, a 1-year apartment lease or a commercial lease. On the exam, remember this: leasehold is possession without ownership. Capitalization rate, cap rate. Now, the cap rate is a way to measure an income property's return based on its income and its value. It's often calculated as a NOI, which means net operating income, divided by its value. Now, a higher cap rate can mean higher return, but it can also signal high risk. Now, investors use cap rate to compare properties in the same market. On the exam, remember the relationship between NOI, which is net operating income, value of the property, and the cap rate. Township. Now, a township is a large square used in the rectangular survey system. It may seem confusing, but let's see if we can make it simple for you. Think of a huge square of land, right? Just a huge square of land. And it's 6 miles by 6 miles, just like that, which makes a total of 36 square miles, right? 6 times 6. Let's call this square a town. Now, each township is divided into 36 sections, 36 smaller squares. Now, each section is 1 square mile or 640 acres. On the exam, township and sections show up in land description and land math. One township, which is the town, has 36 sections. Each section has 640 acres. You want to go deeper down the rabbit hole? 1 acre has 43,560 square feet. Client. A client is someone an agent represents in an agency relationship. Now, the agent owes that client, whether it be a buyer or a seller, fiduciary duties. So what are fiduciary duties, you ask? How about loyalty, confidentiality, and full disclosure? In fact, there are 6 I want you to know. And using the acronym OLD-CAR can help. Obedience, loyalty, disclosure, confidentiality, accounting, and reasonable care. Now, how was a client relationship created? By agreement, often in writing, depending on the state. Now, in the exam, client means that agent must protect their client's best interest by providing them their due fiduciary duties. The old car. Annual percentage rate, APR. Now, the APR shows the yearly cost of a loan, including the interest and certain finance charges like the origination fees and points. It helps borrowers compare loans with different rates and fees. Now, since it includes some cost, APR is often higher than the note rate. It provides a more comprehensive understanding on the cost to get that certain loan. Now, the more fees and points, the more APR can increase. On the exam, APR is about comparison and true cost by considering both the interest and the finance fees. That's the secret. PITI, PITI. What does that stand for? Principal, interest, taxes, insurance. Now, PITI, P-I-T-I, is a common way to describe the full monthly housing payment. It's a pity that I have to make this payment. PITI represents the principal paid, the interest paid, the taxes paid, and the insurance paid. The P for principal reduces the loan balance, and the I for interest is the cost of borrowing from the lender. The T, taxes, and the I, insurance, are often paid monthly through an impound escrow account. Lenders use PITI, P-I-T-I, to help measure affordability and debt-to-income ratio. On the exam, monthly payment may refer to PITI, not just paying principal and interest. PIT is also used to pay taxes and insurance, making it an impound account. For example, an FHA loan would require a borrower to pay PITI together. Loan estimate, also known as LE, loan estimate. Now the loan estimate is the disclosure that shows loan terms, projected payments, and estimated closing costs to an interested borrower. Now it helps borrowers shop and compare lenders early on in the process. One of the major rules is that the lenders must provide a loan estimate within 3 business days after a borrower completes the loan application. Now if major loan terms change, a revised loan estimate may be required. On the exam, I want you to know this, that the loan estimate is early on in the game. It's early on in the game, and it is an estimate. Based on the estimate, the borrower might move forward with that particular lender. They may not. Closing disclosure. Now, the closing disclosure is the final statement of the loan terms and closing costs. Now, the key word here is closing, which occurs towards the end of the loan. Now, the reason it is given near the end of the loan process is so that the borrower can review all the loan details, such as monthly payments, recurring and non-recurring closing costs, fees, everything, before signing and agreeing to the numbers. Now, the borrower must receive it at least 3 business days before closing the deal. Now, if certain key items change in the closing disclosure and adjustment is made, well, a new 3-day waiting period may be triggered. Now, in the exam, CD, which equals closing disclosure, is final once it is signed. Buyer broker, also known as buyer representation agreement. Now, this is the agreement where a buyer hires an agent, also known as the broker, because they represent the broker, to represent them, just as it states in the title, buyer-broker agreement. Now, it explains the specifics of the agreement, such as what duties the agent owes to their client and how the agent will be paid once the transaction is closed. Now, one of the common specifics included in the agreement is the length of time for the relationship, and it's listed right there on the agreement. The seller may state in the agreement, I'll give you 3 months to list my home. Now, this helps prevent confusion about compensation and responsibilities. On the exam, it creates agency, clarifies payment, and clarifies duties owed. Now, if you love U.S. Realty Training and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Do me a huge favor. Become part of the 28% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. Doing so helps us make more great videos just like this. I'll see you in the next one.